Good evening, viewers. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is the News Hour agenda, and I'm Hina Gambhir. Viewers, sometimes to analyze what the present is brewing for the future, one has to delve in the past. Let's rewind to the days of our independence struggle, 1905 to 1908. The Swadeshi movement hit the Britishers. Burning of foreign clothes became the movement's central part. October 1905, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar, V.D. Savarkar, organized one of the first such boycott bonfires in Pune. And then from 1920 to 22 came the non-cooperation movement. Father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi gave the boycott and Swadeshi even greater significance. Let's now return to the present. The world may have changed completely since 1947, but viewers, that national need for Swadeshi seems to have returned with renewed force as India stands amidst today's geopolitical realities. Taking a leaf out from our own history books, today a small step was taken to send out a mega Swadeshi signal. Union Home Minister Amit Shah today announced that he is switching to Zoho, a homegrown software suite. He revealed and posted his new email ID on social media platforms. Amit Shah's move follows similar shifts by other ministers as well, including IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav in the past, who recently, in fact last month only, announced that he was moving to Zoho's office suite software. So what's the big deal about it? Please allow me to divide HM Amit Shah's post into two parts for you. In part one, he has said, "Hello everyone, I have switched to Zoho Mail. Kindly note the change in my email address. My new email address is," he gives the email address for future correspondence via email. "Kindly use this address," is what he says. Now, this is just part one of his post. That seems innocuous, but not after I read the part two that carries the real punch. You know, he goes on to say, "Thank you for your kind attention to this matter." Now, this one line is equivalent to a long multi-page email. Is it still a riddle for you? So let me explain. This line, "Thank you for your kind attention to this matter," borrows from what Trump uses at the end of his post or while making an announcement on his Truth Social platform. This has now become a viral catchphrase and a stuff of memes online. So what's the message here? Viewers, the broad hint is that in the backdrop of Trump's tariff tantrums, India is raising the Swadeshi flag high. The top government functionaries are porting out from US platforms to ones that are made in India. Let me explain how. You know, India over the last few decades has developed an enormous dependence on US-grown mailing systems like Google's Gmail and Microsoft's Outlook. You know, 300 million out of 1.8 billion Gmail users in the world are in India. When it comes to Zoho, it's born and bred in India. Experts have declared that it's superior in many ways. Viewers, you would recall Prime Minister Modi himself has been pursuing a march towards Made in India and Har Ghar Swadeshi, Ghar Ghar Swadeshi. The campaign has gained greater zeal as Trump tariffs have cast a shadow on India's economic growth. World Bank yesterday only raised this year's GDP forecast for India but lowered next year's GDP forecast due to Trump tariffs. But like the freedom fighters did during our independence struggle, an attempt today is on to turn the clear and present crisis into an opportunity. A Swadeshi-driven Atmanirbhar Mazboot Bharat plans not to buckle before any global bully and bullies. Last month, Prime Minister Modi had urged Indians to adopt homegrown digital platforms as alternatives to global tech giants like Google and Microsoft. Zoho today is emerging as a popular alternative to Gmail in India. You know, Zoho's homegrown messaging app, Aratai, like David, is challenging the Goliaths like WhatsApp, Telegram and Signal. You know, some even went on to call Aratai like, you know, the WhatsApp killer. That's what people are talking about these days. It also recently caught the attention of, by the way, Mahindra Group Chairman Anand Mahindra. But in this case, the enthusiasm comes with pragmatism. Why? Let's look at some statistics here. Zoho is the baby of Zoho Corporation. Its revenue in FY23 was 8,703 crore rupees, or about $1 billion. Net income 2,836 crore rupees, or about $340 million. It's challenging Google, whose revenue in 2023 was $307 billion. The critics are in the frame with mocking tones. They are sending reminders about coup, India's alternative to Twitter a few years ago. It was endorsed by many ministers and government departments, but had to shut down eventually due to financial difficulties and an unpredictable market environment. They say India's push will need a miracle, and in real life, miracles don't happen. They claim the government's Swadeshi push is mere bluster and will flop. But they ignore the fact that successes of the American multinationals today are built on volume of users that countries like India provide. So viewers, we debate tonight, will Indians rise to grab the Swadeshi push that will eventually benefit India and Indians? If China could do it, why not India? And most importantly, can there be minimum politics for maximum economics? Joining us on my debate this evening are my guests. We have Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Tushar Gupta, who is a political analyst, retired Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director of India Foundation, Dr. Santosh Mehrotra, who is a senior economist. Also, I'm joined by Advocate Nikhil Jain, who is a political analyst. Good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us here on the debate this evening. One question I'd like to give to all of you. Will you today like to stand up for Swadeshi and send a signal to Trump, just like Home Minister Amit Shah did? Let's start with Dr. Santosh Mehrotra. 10 seconds each.
I'd certainly like to, but I'm not sure whether that's the most important message that we want to send. I think the most important message we want to send is that India needs an industrial policy. We have to get ourselves an industrial policy. And if we got an industrial policy, we would be much less dependent upon all these products and that we import from the United States. And it's absolutely critical that we have to become at least 5 times more producing 5 times more manufacturing than we are currently doing. We contribute less than 2% of global GDP on global manufacturing output, while China is doing 30%. In the next 5 years, can we at least aim to get to 10%?
Okay.
So, TikTok, Gmail, Zoho, that's not going to do it for us.
Okay.
That's not going to give us the jobs. That's not going to give us the 8% growth that we need consistently for 25 years.
Okay. Major General Dhruv Katoch.
Thank you, Hina. Hina, I've already joined Zoho and I'm on Aratai. And I think it's important for a very simple reason. Unless we act and think like Indians and Swadeshi, we are not going to get anywhere. It is very well to say we don't have A, B, C, and D, but you have to make a start somewhere. We have got an Indian entrepreneur who has made a start. We need to support such endeavors instead of being sarcastic and talking about, whole host of things which India doesn't have. If we keep talking in that language, we will never get there. So this is a very major step taken. I know it will take time to beat, for Aratai to take on WhatsApp. You require at least a subscriber base of 500 million people. But they'll get there. And I am very supportive of this endeavor. And I believe that Swadeshi is the answer to most of the problems we are facing.
Sanju Verma.
Hina, I think the best example of the fact that Make in India is a success story is endorsed by the fact that today 99.3% of the mobile phones at our smartphones consumed in India are made in India. And don't forget, 11 years back, our mobile phone / smartphone exports were barely 1,500 crores. Today it is more than 2.76 lakh crores. We were producing defense equipment 11 years back to the tune of 1,200 crores. Today our defense production is over 1.4 lakh crore and we export made in India defense equipment to over 153 countries. We are the world's second largest smartphone market. We are the world's second largest steel producer. We are the world's second largest car producer. We are the world's fifth largest stock market. We have the world's fourth largest forex reserves. We have the world's seventh largest gold reserves. We have an economy of $4.3 trillion when Prime Minister Modi took charge, Hina, in 2014.
Right.
India's economy was to the tune of $2 trillion. So we've grown 115% in absolute terms in just a short span of 11 years.
Okay. Advocate Nikhil Jain, 10 seconds if you could restrict your answer to that.
Hina, to answer your question, that I think all of us would like to use more of Indian-made products, but let's be honest and let's be real. We will end up using Indian-made products when Indian-made products are at par with their global competitors. It is very well and easy for the Home Minister to now come around and say that I'm going to use Zoho. Let's see how long that lasts, because last I checked, Coup app did not last, Paytm did not last in the manner that it was launched, Coronel did not last, Freedom 251 did not last, and this is not me trying to diss on Indian companies. I would love to see our companies succeed, but the thing is that they have to be at par with the global giants, and for that we need the right investment infrastructure, the government infrastructure and the academic infrastructure. If the government is always trying to intimidate the corporates or engage in crony capitalism, we will never see that.
Okay.
And just so your viewers know the numbers, Aratai has 7.5 million users. WhatsApp has 3 billion users.
Yes.
Zoho has a revenue of $1 billion. Google, like you said, has a revenue of $300 billion.
By the way,
let's not compare
a lot of
things that are
users of all
400
these
times
apps, Advocate
Let's
Nikhil
aspire-
Jain.
Let's be real.
You know, by the way, a lot of users of all these apps that you're quoting right now for our viewers, they come from India only. Indian market, Indian consumers are quite big.
That
And
is
I quoted
absolutely
some
correct.
data,
That is
and I
true.
quoted
That is
some
true.
data in my introduction as well. Of course, we'll be delving into, all the points that you all are raising. But first, I just want an answer to the direct question I asked. Will you endorse Swadeshi or not? Let's take that opening comment from Tushar Gupta, and then we'll open up this debate.
Tushar.15@zohomail.in. That's my email ID on Zoho. I've created it a week ago. Nikhil Jain says Paytm is not the company that it was once. Paytm has 300 million users today. Congress had 136 million voters in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024. So I don't think Nikhil Jain is even qualified to comment on a company like Paytm, which is now an aggregator app catering to a lot of customers. I also heard an economist saying that we need an industrial policy somehow to deal with our information technology platforms. I don't know what the relation between the two is, but I probably think that's some economist theorem that probably needs a lot of explanation. But Hina, the point here is simple. Let's build our own Huawei. Let's build our own Google. Let's build our own Microsoft. Let's build our own Meta. Let's build whatever we can, from gaming to instant messaging, from hardware to stacks, 4G, 5G, 6G stacks. We have to start somewhere. And this is a great start.
This is a great start. That's what many Indians today are saying. But yet we have critics who are reminding us of what happened with Coup and also Hike, by the way, in the past. Because similar kind of endorsement had come in, for these as well from the government side, from, big names of India Inc., etc. Similarly, what we are seeing happening with Zoho. But, Dr. Santosh Mehrotra, we also have success stories today. For example, UPI. For example, Zomato. There are several domestic success stories as well. So I want to ask you why, look at every initiative from the lens of politics.
I don't know. You are bringing in politics. I didn't bring in politics. I'm only talking economics. When I talked about industrial policy, I mean that we need to make sure that 85% of our enterprises which are in the unorganized sector have to get credit. Are they getting credit? The opposite is happening and has been happening. They have been shrinking in size, and that's been happening ever since the demonetization was introduced. Why are we forgetting the 8th of November 2016? Why are we forgetting the 1st of July of 2016? Somehow channels, the Godi media channels somehow...
I'm sorry, Dr. Mehrotra.
Sorry, ma'am. May I finish? You ask me a question. May I
No, but
finish?
then you have to be a little respectful also. I'm not going to tolerate. No.
You are
What is
getting the
Godi
respect
media here?
that you
What is
deserve.
Godi media? I mean,
Hina ji,
what is Godi
your
media?
channel
I
is
asked you a
getting
direct
the
question.
respect
You
that
don't
it
have an
deserves.
answer.
You are already disrespecting me by shutting me up.
No,
by
I am
over-
not. I am not.
over me.
I'm just asking you to be respectful because I'm extremely respectful to not just you but
I'm
each one of
deeply-
our panelists.
I'm deeply respectful of you. If you would let me finish, you would be being respectful. So may I finish? When I speak about industrial policy, I would expect that I'm heard about the following point, that for 25 years from 1992 till 2015, the share of manufacturing in GDP was 17%. It is 12 and 13 or 14% today. Why? Can you explain that to me? You will not have an explanation because we don't have an industrial policy. So don't tell me, oh, we are doing Zoho, or we have 20% of the international human capital on internet,
Okay.
on IoT. Or
I
on
see
AI.
hands being raised.
It
Sanju
doesn't
Verma
help
wants to
you.
come in. Tushar Gupta also wants to come in. But
You are
before
not
that,
creating,
since you
Hina
mentioned
ji, the jobs that
2016,
need to be
Dr.
created.
Mehrotra, it's all gloom and doom. That's what you're trying to convey.
No one is saying gloom and doom.
That's the only sentiment you're trying to reflect here because you spoke
think
about
so?
demonetization, you spoke about
I'm more
2016.
sophisticated.
I just
No,
want to
Hina,
say one thing. Dr. Mehrotra, one second. Hear me
usually
out.
much more sophisticated than you are being
No,
today.
no.
Sorry.
One second, Dr. Mehrotra, hear me out. You spoke of 2016. There were 500 startups in 2016 in India. As of January 2025, there were 1,59,157 startups in India. Around 2014, till 2014, there were just 4 unicorns. Today, we have about 118 unicorns. I also mentioned about some success
4
stories.
million
By the way,
people.
you yourself said that we need to be less dependent on the outside world initially, of course.
Ma'am.
It is a signal we need to be self-reliant, we need to be Atmanirbhar. So if a step today is being taken, why have
you are
doubts?
giving jobs for people who speak English.
Okay,
That's the
Sanju
problem.
Verma wants to come in, then Tushar
Giving
Gupta.
jobs for the vast majority of Indians.
Hina, I did not heckle Mr. Mehrotra. I hope he'll extend the same courtesy to me. Mr. Mehrotra, thank you so much. Now let me tell you one thing. Hina, for everyone who says, oh, manufacturing share as a percentage of GDP is not 25%, it's only 12%, koi kehta hai it's only 16%. India today is the world's 3rd largest startup ecosystem with 1.82 lakh startups, 122 unicorns, which have given jobs to more than 17.9 lakh people. And now, Hina, I will read out a few names in 10 seconds. And I'll tell you what's common to them. And Mr. Mehrotra, with full respect to you, थोड़ा ध्यान से सुनिए. Zepto, Krutrim, Incred, Moneyview, Rapido, Slice, MyGlam, BharatPay, Zeta, Grow, Farmeasy, Echo, Blackbuck, Cars24, Physics Wala, Global Bees, Misho, UN Academy, Upgrad, Oxyzo, Coin, DCX, Coin Switch, High Radius, Darwin Box, Hasura, Kuber, Pine Labs, Udan, UB, ShareChat, Spinny and Ola Electric. What is common to all these names? These are all unicorns. And they became unicorns in the last 11 years. They became unicorns in their first attempt. So, Prime Minister Modi has been able to provide a facilitative ecosystem. And I will point to one thing that Hina said, I would like to take up from that. Today, in the month of September alone, we did 19.63 billion UPI transactions worth 24.90 lakh crore in a single month. Today, 940 million, that is 94 crore Indians have access to broadband connectivity.
Right.
And Professor Santosh Mehrotra refuses to see the glass as half full and continues to see the glass as half empty, then I will just say what Prime Minister Modi said a couple of years back. ये जो पेसिमिस्टिक खान मार्केट गैंग है, इनको 2014 के बाद भारत में कुछ अच्छा नजर ही नहीं आता. So Mr. Mehrotra, I hope you're not a part of the car market gang.
Okay. I want to go across to Tushar Gupta now. The question begging an answer today is, Tushar, why aren't we like China in manufacturing? Has the slowdown happened in just last 10 years or last 7 decades?
Well, in the last 7 decades, practically nothing happened. Nikhil Jain is sitting here. We were not even producing our own APIs before the COVID pandemic hit, and something that was pointed out by Ajit Doval as early as 2015, that we were not even producing the active pharmaceutical ingredients from our pharmaceutical industry, which was critical. During COVID, we were losing out on some basic medicines because of the Chinese dependence. And someone here from the UPA era economist ecosystem was talking about, oh, what you have done for the unorganized sector. You tell me, can these people explain what is SEMITI, what is the account aggregator framework which is enabling credit access, paperless credit for MSMEs and individuals? Can they even tell us the full form of ONDC, which is moving us from a platform-centric transaction to a transaction-centric protocol? Can they even explain these little things? A lot is happening digitally in India. You know, Nikhil Jain talks about we have to think big. His own leader in 2017 said, why would the farmers use digital payments? Hina, today we are registering 700 million UPI payments every single day. We are clocking at almost 21 billion per month. Now, someone from the UPA era who was just an advisor to the UPA government will not understand this. But the only thing forgotten today is these economists, because they can't even differentiate between the importance of manufacturing and the importance of having self-reliance in critical IT platforms to begin with, finance. You understand that Visa and MasterCard had a very big problem with the rollout of RuPay cards. Why? Because they were Swadeshi. It went big. They had a problem with UPI. Why? Because it displaced the plastic cards. What happened? UPI went like 20 billion transactions. You tell me one thing, one thing where Rahul Gandhi or his Congress coterie has actually been proven right in the last 11 years when it comes to India's information ecosystem, technology ecosystem. They have just been proven wrong again and again. And my problem is, on a day when people from the Home Minister to common individuals like me are embracing a Swadeshi platform, we are starting to make that transition from a Western platform to a Swadeshi platform. These people have a problem. What buffoonery is this? I don't understand. He's sitting there clapping, a forgotten economist.
Advocate Nikhil Jain, how will you like to respond?
First of all, I'd like to raise an objection about the personal remarks being made about Dr. Mehrotra. That's completely unwarranted. Secondly, there are some people who like to see the glass half full, some people who like to see it half empty, but the BJP likes to see a 5,000 drops in the glass, and that is what the problem is. You have to be realistic. You have to understand what you're fighting against, what you have, what you can do, and what you can't do. Sanju Verma just read out a whole list of startups and unicorns and this and that, and buttressed her point with the fact that startups have created 18 lakh people are employed in startups. Very well, we're all happy about it. But Dr. Mehrotra's point was about manufacturing. How many jobs does manufacturing provide in India? 7 crore jobs. How many jobs does manufacturing provide in China? 22 crore. Our population is more than China today. We are a nation of 140 crore people. Yet Mr. Sanju Verma will sit here wax eloquent about a bunch of firms giving jobs to 0.18 crore people. That is not seeing the glass half full. That is just living in your own delusion. All of us want India to grow. All of us would like Indian companies to prosper, but it can only happen when the government is honest with what there is and what there isn't, what they can do and what they can't do. So far as UPI and its successes are concerned, I am completely with my friends Ms. Verma and Tushar Gupta on that it is indeed a massive success, and what we have done with UPI is something pretty much no country in the world has done. But let's not forget, UPI is a UPA era program. It started in 2009. Of course, credits to the Modi government for taking it forward, but the entire idea and the entire foundation laying happened during the Congress government. All the ideas that this government has come up with, whether it's the botched up implementation of the GST or demonetization or giving the production side,
Sanju,
supply side stimulus during COVID, it has been massive failures.
This is not
Prime
fair,
Minister
Sanju.
Modi used to make
Keep on
fun
and
of
on and on.
Sanju, you're not
never
speaking. I
realizing
asked you to go ahead and
hundreds
speak,
of
make your
millions of
point.
people out of poverty. What
Sanju
they're now
Verma.
doing is they're just now doling
Hina,
out
can I please? Thank you. Hina, can you ask Nikhil Jain to please stop blabbering? Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you, Nikhil. Your name is not Sanju Verma. Thank you so much. Yes. Hina, I want to read out some names. And these names, with no offense to none, have far more credibility than any so-called economist from Khan Market gang or any political analyst who's actually a Congress Darbari. Bhavish Agarwal, founder of Ola. Ritesh Agarwal, founder of Oyo Rooms. Sachin and Binny Bansal, who were co-founders of Flipkart. Kevalya Vora, founder of Zepto. Naveen Tiwari, founder of IlMobi. Ruchi Kalra, Nandan Reddy, Deepinder Goyal, co-founder of Zomato. Kunal Shah, founder of Cred. Why do you read out these names? These names have said that even when we were present in the... Hina, I did not happen, you have to give me my time.
Okay.
These are some of the biggest unicorn founders. And Hina, you know what they say? They've repeatedly said in the last 2 years. हम 2004, 2005, 2006, 2008, 2010, 2011 हम कब से ट्राई कर रहे थे? We could not even get seed capital, forget venture capital financing. Thanks to Narendra Modi, we are today unicorns. And unicorn का मतलब क्या है? A company which has a market cap of more than $1 billion. That is a market cap of more than 8,800 crores at current exchange rates for the uneducated.
Okay. Now, you made your point, Sanju. I want to go across to Dr. Mehrotra now. 1 second. Then I'll go across to Major General Dhruv Katoch also. 1 second. Dr. Mehrotra, I understand there's a lot that needs to be done. It is a David versus Goliath battle. But the question I am asking you today is, given the current uncertainties, you know, the level of uncertainties that you're facing today, is it doable or is it mission impossible?
What is doable? What is mission impossible? I haven't understood your question.
What we want to achieve is Atmanirbharta. A step has been taken by giving this clarion call to embrace Swadeshi. A message has gone from the Home Minister's side today. The idea is to be prepared to deal with any kind of uncertainty. You track GDP data much more than me. And of course, Sanju Verma does it regularly too. But yesterday only, World Bank's forecast, if you had seen, sir, it had increased this year's forecast, but next year's forecast has been lowered to 6.3% because of Trump tariff impact. So to deal with that uncertainty, if an attempt is being made today, do you think it's the step in the right direction or it is just mission impossible? Kuch nahi ho sakta yahan pe.
No, of course, much can be done. There is no question about it. The point I think both Nikhil Jain and I are attempting to make, if only you would help your own audience listen. If you don't interrupt, I'll be very grateful. All we are saying is, ma'am, that if we are to become Viksit Bharat, and we would all like to see India become Viksit Bharat, we all would like to see poverty to be eliminated in our country. We have to grow at 8% per annum. Let us not rejoice at the fact that we are growing at 6.3% per annum, or the World Bank is projecting we are growing at 6.3% per annum. All we are requesting is that the country needs an industrial policy. China contributes 30% of the global manufacturing total output, 30%. We contribute 1.8%. So can we not stop tom-tomming our own UPI, our own India stack? It's a great achievement. No one is denying that. The second, our own startups. Can we try and let me finish, if I might. 2 more sentences, if I might, Hina ji.
Okay.
The second two more sentences are as follows. One, that services are not, these are all services. All the startups are in the services sector. The services are generating rather too few jobs, and all for those who you and I speak English. May I finish, ma'am? I did not interrupt you. May I finish?
You're peddling wrong data on this show.
Woman will not let anyone speak. So,
but
Hina
you know,
ji,
unfortunately, I didn't get an answer. Is it doable or not?
If this woman will give me a chance.
Okay.
So I'm finishing with two
Okay,
sentences.
I really don't have a lot of time left on the debate. I want to also go across to Major General Dhruv Katoch, who's been waiting patiently for quite some time. And we've discussed the state of the economy. I also want to move on in this debate and discuss another very important aspect. The message to Donald Trump, the message to America that has been sent. And Major General Dhruv Katoch, will this Swadeshi push, in your opinion, add to India's leverage in trade tariff discussions that are also currently underway with the United States of America? Because Home Minister's message today was loaded. It had two important messages embedded.
Hina, I think the most important message which has gone across to the United States, and we met some of the delegates yesterday evening itself, a US delegation which has come, is that India is not anybody's play baby anymore. India will take its own decisions at its own time and for its own national interest. And that message has gone clearly. And I think the Home Minister's, when he put in that word, thank you very much for your attention, that goes towards that. But there's one more point I wish to give, where India has changed. The most important change which has taken place in India, in my view, of course we can quote numbers, etc., but there's a change in mindset. The way people are thinking today is totally different than what they were thinking 10 years ago. And I want to give you, with 30 seconds, a very small example. I have a maid working in my house. She and her husband do the most menial job. They've got one child. They have done everything in their power to put their son into college. That is the level of ambition which has come into India. And it is not just one. It is spread across. Now, I know that there are many challenges which we still face, but by constantly harping on the challenges, we are trying to degrade what we have achieved. Let us be appreciative of what we have achieved and work towards what needs to be done. And I think once we do that, all of us will rise together.
I think that's the most important point that you have made here. And that was the reason why I was saying that it's not an easy task. Of course, we've got big ambitions. We have got our eyes, to become this Viksit Bharat, Viksit country by 2047. It is a David versus Goliath battle. But the question is that should we be looking at only the problems, or should we be also, look at possibilities that can help us achieve those targets? Some initiatives are being taken. Should we continue to doubt all initiatives just because they are being endorsed by the government, or should we also, think at the interest of the country first? I would like to leave it there, and thank you very much all my guests for joining us here on this debate. Viewers, we began this week with the news of an attempted attack on India's highest judicial office, the Chief Justice of India. A lawyer attempted to throw a shoe at the Chief Justice